Hey, good morning, everybody. John Martinez here, Midwest Revenue Group. Looks like we've got quite a few on the call today. Absolutely awesome. Let's first make sure that the audio works. Can I get a raise of hands if you can hear me loud and clear? Beautiful. Great, everyone. So today we're going to talk about closing the deal. So really just to kind of reverse back a little, get us caught up, kind of revisit where we're at so far in this process. Let's talk about what we've discussed so far, so we can really visualize where we're at with this thing. That'll also allow a couple minutes for any late attendees to hop on. So when we talk about sales and sales process, we started with the advance agreement to set the stage for every conversation. Three parts to that advance agreement, really. How long is this going to take? What's the agenda? And then what's the outcome? Yes is good, no is okay too. We went from that to the diagnosis. Diagnosis is really where we find out their why, right? So the why is super, super important. You know, this last week at the mastermind I was at, I can't tell you how many of our speakers and how many of the business owners kept referring back to the why and what they do and what drives them. It's the same thing with everyone we're selling to or buying from. So the diagnosis, we take it to an emotional level. That's where motivation and urgency live, and that's where we want to get to. After we find out why someone wants to make a change in their life, make a change in their situation, just do something different from what they've already been doing, there's going to be a lot of things that get in the way, right? We know why they want to say yes, but no matter how bad we want to say yes to certain things, there's roadblocks, there's challenges, there's concerns, objections, that type of thing. That's what we uncover in our decision-making process questions and our investment questions. So we find out the why, we get them revved up into an emotional level where they're ready to take action, and then we systematically remove every single reason, every single challenge, every single concern that's going to get in the way of taking action. Okay? So once we've done those two pieces, once we've found out the why, removed the obstacles, it's time to close this thing down, right? So that's where we're at today. Why do you want to do business with me? Why might you do business with me? Why might you change what you're doing? And then what's going to get in the way? We systematically knock off everything that might get in the way by comparing it back to our diagnosis, their why, and then we end up at this place where it's time to shut this sale down, and that's what we're covering today. All right? So before we get there, a little bit of housekeeping. One topic I know everyone wants to cover, or at least we've got a lot of feedback about this. So inside sales calls are Thursday calls. We saw a pretty steep decline in attendance and in calls being sent in. I think we were down to one group sending in calls each week. So we had decided to scratch it. But the feedback I got so far, well, kind of mixed. Some people said, hey, we need the time, thank you, got a lot out of it. And others said, hey, really like that, I'd like it to keep going. So we've got a couple ways we can handle this. We can reinstate them and do them live again. Or I've got about 20 to 30 hours of these things that we've done for other groups all ready to go in a folder for you guys. I figured that might be a good option for a couple of reasons. Number one, you can scroll through, fast forward quickly, get to the types of calls you want to cover. You can do it on your own time, not my time, because I know sometimes it's really hard to match up schedules, right? And then you can also listen to them at 1.25 or 1.5, the regular rate of speed. That way you can get through them a lot quicker, take down an hour's worth of content in 30 minutes or so. That's usually how I like to do it. I increase the speed when I listen to the calls. After a few minutes, you get used to the increased speed, kind of the higher pitched voices, right? And then we listen to them. So you guys tell me if what you want to do. I'm here to serve you the best way I can. This was kind of an experiment for us. We've never, we've never focused on doing them week by week like that for the full 12 weeks. Our usually the way we operate is every other week, so 6 of those sessions. So we got to 7 or 8 with you guys. We started to see the fall off, and then also I have a coach who's in the in the industry I am. He's a coach. He coaches real estate investors, and some of the feedback I got from him was, man, John, 2-hour-long calls a week plus a video. That's just overkill. That's just too much for people to handle. They're going to get overloaded. So all that stuff added up. That's why we discontinued the calls. Let me know whether you rather have the hour live weekly reinstated. Happy to do it. Or if you just want to get that 20, 30 hours of recordings to listen to as you wish. That being said, I don't want you to miss out on a single thing. So if you choose the recordings, doesn't mean you can't send me calls. I'll review them one-off. I'll just listen to them, take down some notes, maybe some audio recordings, and we'll do them one-off. So if you have calls that come up and you say, hey, will you listen to this? I don't know how to handle this one part, or it just didn't feel right, or anything like that, we're happy to review those as well. So I'm going to let you guys make the call. You decide what you want to do, and you let me know either through the questions box on this webinar, or feel free to text, Voxer, or email me. And we'll take it from there. I don't want to leave you wanting anything. Like I said, I'm here to serve. I'll serve you the best way I know how, and I figure instead of me guessing, you tell me how to serve you, and I am more than happy to provide that. Okay? So now that that's off the table, let's get into this thing. So answers real quick for you. Jake, yeah, happy to get you guys those recordings. Brian Sapp, yeah, you can send those one off to us and we'll review them. No problem at all. So keep the comments coming in. So far it looks like access to all the recordings is what people are leaning towards, sending in some one-offs, but I'll let you guys make that call. So let's get into this. Let's get into closing the deal. Guys, hopefully you watched the videos. We're going to start this the same way we always do, right? I want to check understanding, and then we'll get more into the application. So really there's 3 components that the close is made up of. Okay, these 3 components, I won't make you answer questions too early. I'll let you get warmed up here. These 3 components are the commitment step, the presentation, and the confirmation. They each serve a very distinct and specific purpose. We're going to go over each one of those today. You can skip any one of those steps at your own peril if you want to. These aren't long steps. These are pretty quick, simple, painless steps. You can sometimes get through a whole close within a matter of minutes. The first step, the commitment step, you can sometimes get through that in 15 to 30 seconds. So don't let it overwhelm you. We'll go through these 3 steps in detail, what they should sound like today, and we'll go from there. Be sure to ask any questions if you have any. So these are the 3 components that make up a close. Commitment step, your presentation, and your confirmation. So let's dig in. Okay, again, to review, we went through the diagnosis, investment decision process, the top third of the triangle. That's all the close. We hold this thing together with our advance agreements: commitment, presentation, confirmation. So for those visual learners, that's why we have this slide in here. Okay, diagnosis, their why, investment and decision process, what's going to get in the way, and now we're ready to close this thing down. So the commitment step. Okay, before we even get here, I want to address something. Why do we typically present too early before the commitment step? Lots of times before even the diagnosis. Just in general terms, why do salespeople start a sales process with the presentation instead of ending with it? Right? I'm asking you to end with the presentation. So let's sit on that for a second. I want it to be crystal clear why it's set up this way. So guys, what do you think? Why do you think salespeople typically present way too early? All right, because they have all the answers, because they're excited, it makes them feel good. The whole point of the sales job is to do presentations, right? So that's what we're trained on, and we like it, right? Most of our training's in product training, our company, how we work, the way we do business, so we like to share it, right? Some of us, myself included, Also, sometimes feel an emotional need for an acceptance, adult show and tell. You see, since we were in kindergarten, basically we are trained our whole lives to show and tell, right? We give a report. What do people do? They all clap, right? We do a presentation. What do people do? They tell us how great we did. We're trained from a very early age to present and get rewarded. So for a lot of us, it's deeply held within us. And when we present, we're talking about what we know, so it feels good. We feel in control. And if we're at a loss of what conversation to have, what questions to ask, it's so easy to slide right into presentation. So the next question is this: why shouldn't we present too early? Okay, what's the danger? What's the danger if we present too early? It feels good, right? We know it feels good. We know it's easy. We know that's what our prospects want, is for us to immediately jump into a presentation. But there's some dangers associated with it. Waste of time, William says. Lose your leverage, Darren says. Lose a prospect. They have the info they need. Prospect not qualified yet. Guys, you nailed it. Obviously watch the videos. You hit it 100% dead on. You see, selling's about gaining commitments. Business is never won or lost during the presentation. We win or lose business based on how well we diagnose, how well we uncover what they're willing to invest, how well we discover their decision process, and how well we establish the commitment to make a decision. And the commitment will be the first step of our close. Okay? So the commitment step. Guys, any of you remember what the purpose of the commitment step is? All right. Yeah, pretty obvious, right? So to get a commitment, to guarantee we get a yes or a no, to make sure we didn't miss anything at all, right? I think of it kind of as, you know, I took up hunting a couple years ago. My father-in-law introduced me to it. And if you're gonna, I honestly just love to sit up in a tree stand myself. Sometimes I don't even load my weapon. I like to be out there for 3-4 hours, watch the sunrise. But when we talk about hunting, before you take a shot, you've got to make sure your aim is 100% on. Because if you're off, even a millimeter, it can be chaos, right? If you're gonna hunt, if you're going to do that, right? Some people do, some people don't. I get it, but if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna take aim at an animal, you better be sure you put it down humanely. If you're even a millimeter off, you've got a bad situation. Not only is the animal injured, you might not ever find it. You might not ever have your shot again, and you've really didn't do anything for anybody. It's a horrible situation. Same thing when we present. If we're even a little bit off, we may not ever have our chance to take another shot at the prospect, okay? Even if we're a little off. So the commitment step, one thing it's going to do, a few things it's going to do is make sure we haven't missed anything. Make sure before we present, our aim is 100% dead on, because we might not get another chance with this prospect. We're going to make sure our presentation's dialed in, and we're going to avoid the atomic bomb of all sales calls, maybes, and think it overs. Okay? That's the purpose of the commitment step. Make sure we haven't missed anything. Make sure our presentation's dialed in, and avoid the atomic bomb. So the next question is this: what information do we want to confirm? Right? We want to make sure we didn't miss anything. So I'll leave this up to you. You can jot down a few words if you want. So we want to confirm we didn't miss anything. How do we do that? What are we really confirming? Decision makers? Yeah, investment guy. Yeah, absolutely, guys. We're just confirming those 3 steps we just went through, okay? Diagnosis, investment, decision process. As simple as that, okay? Because within these three categories lives the sale. Why would they do business, and what will get in the way? Can we all agree? Can I have a raise of hands if you agree on this? Or something in the comments box. If we know exactly why they do business with us and everything that could possibly get in the way, Is there any other information we need to know to complete a sale? Is there anything missing? Can we complete a sale? Do we have all the information we need if we know all the reasons why a prospect would take action? And we know all the reasons, all the things that could possibly stop them from taking that action, right? We only have maybes and think it overs when we miss one of those things, right? If we don't dive deep enough into the diagnosis, then we might not build enough motivation or urgency to change, right? But even if we do that, if we miss even a little bit on who's involved in the decision, how they're going to make that decision, what they're willing to give up, what resources they're willing to give up to get our help, if we miss even one of those things, those are the things that linger in a prospect's mind and keep them from pulling the trigger on the deal, keep them from being able to give you a clear yes or no. So that's what we want to do. We go through our process and then we just ask really one simple question, okay? I'm going to skip this. What's the danger of skipping the commitment step? We've kind of already gone through it, okay? Let's talk about the commitment step instead. What's that question sound like, okay? It's kind of like an advance agreement, right? But we're also making sure we didn't miss anything. So it's going to sound something very simple like this. Hey, Susan, listen, thanks for sharing everything with me. I'm going to take a few minutes to go over our offer and exactly what we can do for you. But before I do, I just want to make sure I didn't miss a single thing. Is that okay? Great. Listen, so what I heard is you're dealing with pain, or opportunity, and you want to see if I can help you with that. Did I miss anything there? Anything else I need to cover? Anything else you want to accomplish? Great, listen. And, we kind of ballpark price. We're going to be between 100, 200 grand, 100, 150, somewhere in there, give or take. You said you were comfortable in there, definitely want to be in the upper end. Decision makers are this, and this, and they're deciding on these things. If I show you all those things, cover every single one of those questions, every one of the decision makers' concerns, get price into somewhere you're comfortable, will you be able to give me a yes or no today? And by the way, no is perfectly okay, but what I'm really asking is, we have all the information you need to be able to make that decision. Okay, that's really what we're asking. Okay, if you want to cut it down to one sentence, it's, hey, I'm about to give you our offer, tell you exactly how we do business, the best way I think we can structure this thing for you. At the end of that, will you be able to give me a yes or no decision? And by the way, if the answer is no, that is perfectly fine, no sweat. I just want to make sure I'm giving you everything you need to see to be able to make that yes or no decision. Okay? That's the commitment step. The commitment step is the question, do you have everything you need to make a yes or no answer? Let's pause there for a second, because this is really, really important. So, if your prospect says, no, I don't have all the information I need, what's that tell you? What do you know? Awesome, yeah. Guys, we missed something, and we missed something big. Okay? If we say, can you give me a yes or no, and they say, no, I'm not able to. What happened? You're right. We missed something, right? There's not enough motivation, or there's another decision. There's something we've missed. We either didn't build enough motivation, they're not motivated to take action, or there's a deal killer in there we have not yet addressed. That's what it tells us. So this is huge impact. So if our prospects tell us, hey, I can't make a decision, is there any reason we would just say, okay, push forward, do our presentation, knowing that they just explicitly told us, I have no answer for you? Would we do that? I mean, just as we talk it through, doesn't that sound silly? Like, hey, I'm about to lay it all out on the table, give you the big dog and pony show. I'm gonna leave it all here. I'm ready to give you my best and my final offer. Can you give me a decision? Absolutely not. Okay, let's go forward. You're guaranteeing yourself that maybe or that think it over, right? Now, there might be a reason in there why they can't give you a decision now, right? But you want a commitment for a predetermined time frame. For some people, for the way I like to go about it, it's, hey, the end of this meeting, yes or no, no's okay. If it's not a yes, it is a no. That's how I build motivation and urgency, right? I push for the no. Others, it's going to be a 24-hour, 36-hour. Some of our best clients, I think they've done a 2 or 3 day. That's the way they asked it, right? Hey, in the next 24 hours, 48 hours, will you be able to give me a clear yes or a clear no? That's going to be up to you guys in your business models, okay? But here's the deal. When we don't do that, we don't know if we've missed anything or not. We don't know if our aim is dead on or if our aim is off. And if our aim is off, we might not ever have another chance at that prospect. This is one of the other key components to making sure you never have to deal with a maybe or think it over again, okay? So no point in continuing if it's a no. The reason why is because of that. We've missed something, and after we do our presentation, they have everything they need from us, and we may never have the chance to figure out what we missed and address it. It might be something super simple, right? Oftentimes, you're going to get surprised. You're going to think you did a really good job with maybe the decision-making process. You've asked them 3 or 4 times. You've double-checked your answer, and then it's a no, and it's a, oh, okay, I'm sorry. My bad. I misread something. I misunderstood something. I must have missed something. That's my fault. Can we back up for a second? What did I miss? I know I missed something. Oh, yeah, we just need to run it by Aunt Sue. Oh, decision maker uncovered. Now, at this point, you have the information. So at least now you can decide what you want to do. Do we still push forward? Are we going to coach her to deal with Aunt Sue? Or are we going to try to meet Aunt Sue? It depends on the situation, right? But at least now you have the information to make that call. Okay? Can I see a raise of hands if that makes sense? The confirmation step. Got a few. Looking for some more hands. Or else okay, good. Yeah. Very good. Guys, it's a simple question. Have I missed anything? Can you give me a yes or no within a predetermined time frame? And by the way, no pressure. No is completely okay. When you ask that question, what's going to go through your prospect's head? Uh-oh, am I going to get pressured for a yes? Or are they going to put the screws down on me? No. Hey, if it's a, are you going to be able to give me a yes or a no, a clear yes or a no? And it's okay whether it's a yes or a no. You know, I don't buy every house I walk into. Usually, one out of every 3 or 4 we purchase is just a fit. If it's not a fit, I don't want to purchase your home. I just want to make sure I give you absolutely everything you need to be able to make this decision. Okay, nurture them, right? So, we get a yes. We've got a presentation. Okay? So first question I have for you is about identifying your forms of proof. So basically a presentation is everything you've talked about, everything they said they want to see from you, the problem they want solved or the opportunity they want your help to capture. You got to show your proof that you can help them do that. That's all a presentation is. Presentation is, hey, those things you said you wanted, this is how I'm going to help you get there. Here's what you need to see to feel comfortable that I can get you there. Okay? So let me ask you guys this question. What forms of proof do your prospects typically want to see from you before making a final decision? What do they usually want to hear? Do they want to see? And this isn't a trick question. Some prospects want to see a lot. Some prospects want to see just a little bit of stuff. Some prospects don't want to see anything at all. They just take your word for it and you move on. So I'm seeing testimonials, references, more testimonials, past results. Let me ask you this. Are you sure? Have you ever asked this question, or are we working off of assumptions? Jessica, beautiful answer. You have to ask what they need, right? We all start to assume. You know, when I started doing this, I heard proof of funds over and over again. And the more and more I went into it, and when we started asking, turns out nobody cared about proof of funds. They didn't even know they should ask about proof of funds. Right? So Melinda says very rarely do they need proof. A few looks at the website and that's it. Okay? Very good. So, here's my point with that question. If you went into an auto dealer and the salesperson was just working off the assumption that all you needed to see was the interest rate, or all you needed to see was the final price, or all you needed to see was the monthly payment, is it possible that if that's all they showed you, you might not have enough information to make a decision? That's what we're talking about here, right? We just need to show them what they need to see to be comfortable making a decision, okay? Now, usually, there's a few things that some people are going to ask for, right? If they're scared about your credibility and things like that, you need to have a credibility folder, okay? Be prepared with the most common questions they have. What pains will you present to? How do you do so? So if you typically deal with people who are in foreclosure, do you think it might be nice to have a one sheet on how you help people with foreclosure with some bullet points? If you help people with massive repairs, if you help tired landlords, do you think it might help if you've got a one page with bullet points that when it comes time for presentation, you pull out that page and there's your presentation in front of you in bullet point form? Okay? Just make sure you're prepared to address typical concerns and objections, okay? Consider the decision maker and all the influencers and what they need to see. So to recap, so far, we've got commitment step, then we got our presentation. Presentation, you're going to show them how you're going to solve their pains, and you're going to show them anything they need to see to feel comfortable moving forward. Sounds complex? It's not. Takes a few minutes. Presentations usually don't last more than a few minutes. They can, but usually not. So let's start to make our transition and work with each other here on some of the application piece. We're about halfway through the call. So here's my question for you all. When your prospect fails to give you a definitive answer whether they'll do business with you, or they say something ambivalent like, we need to think about it, we'll get back to you, what do? So you went through the commitment step. You did your presentation. You get to that point, and you guys, here's the deal. Even if you do everything right, you're going to get this still, okay? I guarantee it. You already know it. You've stacked the odds in your favor, but even if you've done everything right, some people are going to be a little hesitant about making a decision. So, yeah, William Wilson says the atomic bomb. What do? Take that as a no, push them towards a no, take it away from them? Absolutely. That's exactly what you do, guys. When you're confronted with this, go for the no. So my question for you is, how will you go for the no when your prospect hesitates in making a decision? How will you do that? I'm going to let the questions box fill up, and we're going to spend a few minutes on this because this is really important. Okay, doesn't seem like we're the right fit. Right. So just like with everything we do, you probably want a softening statement, right? And then we start pushing towards the no. We have to do this in a very, very nurturing way. If we don't nurture here, it can sound like we're upset. The whole thing can blow up on us. Ask a question, what will it take to get the deal done? What number do we need to be at to make it work? I wouldn't really recommend that. I like Jake's answer. Sounds like you're not ready yet or 100% confident. See, when we go for the no here, if you reference back to the overcoming resistance, at this point, here's what's happening. Well, let me ask you. Let's put this all together, guys. So you get to this point, and after everything you've done, you get the we need to think it over. What do you think's going through your prospect's head? Let's dissect this. I know you understand now. I know you guys totally get it. So let's dissect it. What's going through your prospect's head? What's happening? I'll wait for it because I know you guys know. What are the reasons? What causes this? What are the reasons why your prospect might be doing this? Okay, either there's other factors we haven't uncovered yet. Could be, this is over, I think I'm out. Yeah, it could be a no, right? But a soft no, because no one really likes to just say no and slam the door in your face. It's uncomfortable, it causes friction. So yeah, it could really be a no. We need to uncover this. Okay, they're feeling pushed, haven't provided enough information or value. All these are legitimate answers, okay? When your prospect is in any time during the sales process where they're leaning towards a maybe or think it over or I'll get back to you, we've either missed something, right? Or they're feeling discomfort. They're feeling pressured, or it might be a no, but they feel like if they tell us no, we're going to push too hard and put them in an awkward or uncomfortable situation. So we simply give them the no. And when we give them the no, one of two things happen. When we give them the no, if it is a no, this is where we find out. Doesn't mean the deal's over. We can work from there. We can work from that position. Or they're not going to let you go. They're not going to let you close that file, right? You got them there. There's just still one or two concerns. And giving them a no, they go, I don't know how many times in my career I've heard these words. Whoa, 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 I didn't say that. They will stop you. Okay? But if you push for the yes, do you think they're going to volunteer that information? They're going to stick harder to their guns and get you out the door before things get really uncomfortable. So it might sound something like this. Hey, Frank, listen, I appreciate that. It's a really big decision and one that a lot of people want to take their time and think over. I totally get it. That being said, after everything we've talked about, everything you've shared with me, and me sharing with you how we handle that situation, if even after all of that, you're not 100% comfortable moving forward one way or the other, that tells me this is really a no. We don't have a fit here. Either, the problem's not big enough for you to take care of now, it's not a big deal, or you don't feel like we're the best or most capable organization to handle it. So, I appreciate that I think it over, but I'm going to have to consider that a no, and that's okay. We only want to buy your house if you want to sell it to us. We only want to do this if it's a win-win, and my gut's telling me I've missed something. This is a no. Or I know you're a really nice guy, and I don't know, it's just a real soft way for you to very politely tell me no thank you. And then just stop talking. Just be quiet, and the truth will come out. That's all you have to do. Give them the no. Don't over-talk it. Don't keep talking and asking questions. Tell them, I appreciate it, nurture, but that's a no. Then just be quiet and let the truth come out. There might be a little bit of awkward silence, okay? If there's a little bit of awkward silence, that's okay. That means they're thinking. Let them think. Don't steal that from them. Okay? That's the realization in their head of, all right, this is over if I don't take action. Do I want it to be over? Is it worth solving the problem? William says that awkward silence has been the bane of my career. Guys, that awkward silence, that's where sales live. Learn to love it. It is a little awkward, but once you get used to it, when you get it, when you go for the no and you get a long, awkward silence, that's good. That means I'm on to something. We're about to uncover something that hasn't previously been uncovered, that none of my questions, none of the conversation has uncovered so far. Whatever comes out next, that's where the truth lives. So you might do that now. You might say that it's a 24-hour thing, and after that, if I don't hear from you, we just consider it closed. We've got one group, actually a few groups now, and because of their process, the way they do it is they just lay it out on the table, right? They don't say, hey, we've got unlimited funds, we can buy any house. It's as simple as, hey, I appreciate that, but when I asked if you could make a decision earlier, the reason was this. I've got more houses to see this week or today, and if I buy one of those, I might not want to buy this one. And if I buy this one, I might not want to buy one of those others. So I do appreciate it, but as I wrap things up, we're going to have to just make this a no, because it's not fair for you if I left you hanging. I don't want to do that. And it's not fair for the other people I've committed to seeing. If I'm going to buy their house, I need to be able to make them an offer and stick to it. So if we made it this far and you can't figure out whether or not it's a good deal, that probably means the timing's not right, or the pain we talked about. It's just not a big deal. We don't have to solve it right now. You can hang on another 6 months or a year or 2 years or however long it takes. That's okay. It's not my job to tell you when to solve what kind of problem and what it means to you. Or it means I've missed something big time, or maybe it is just a no and you don't have the heart to tell me. Whatever the reason is, I'm going to have to leave here with a firm no if it's not a yes, and it's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings, right? We don't have the intention of buying every house that I step foot into. Only want to buy your house if you want to sell it to me. And it sounds like you don't want to sell it to me, and that's okay. And get ready for the awkward silence. They're either going to confirm it really is a no, or they'll come at you with I didn't say that, or it's just this one thing. Guys, let's get some feedback. Where are we on that? Because this is the close. This is where we finish. This is where we wrap this thing up. This is important. After all the work you do, if you stick with this sales process, don't let it unravel here. The whole trick is this. Let's not overcomplicate it. Do they have enough to make a decision? Yeah? Okay, here's what we're going to do for you. Yes or no? Anything other than a yes or a no, we give them the no. That will uncover any hidden objections or concerns, or it will uncover if it really is a no. You'll be surprised how often it's not really a no, it's just hidden objections and concerns. But if you do not address those hidden objections and concerns, that turns into a no. Time kills deals. You walk out that door, motivation, urgency starts to fade, and they either put it on the back burner again because it's too big of a decision to deal with, or someone comes in, does it the right way, and closes that deal. So guys, give me some feedback. On the close, what are your thoughts? Don't hold anything back. Question, do you always use this on an appointment, or do you recommend giving them more time if they ask for it? Melinda, great question. It depends on why they need more time. So let's dig into that just a little bit. If they say they need more time, test it. Find out if it's legit or not, okay? So everyone's going to ask for more time. It's a big decision. No one really wants to make that decision. So you can test it with something like, I'm more than happy to give you all the time you need, but can I ask you a question? Usually when people say, I just need a little bit more time, it's because they're just super nice people, and really they've decided, no, this isn't for me, but they wanted to give me a no in the most polite way possible and not hurt my feelings. I got a feeling that might be what's going on here. Am I close? Test it. Go for the no. Basically what you're doing there is saying, hey, what that means to me is it's really a very polite no. Whatever they say next, you'll find out real quick if it's a false no, a fake no, if they're just putting you off, Or if it's a real no. No, I have got to talk to this person, uh-oh, uncovered decision maker. Just have to check with this and this, uh-oh, uncovered something in the another deal killer. You never uncover those things unless you go for the no. Blindly accepting I need more time is rough. You don't uncover anything, right? There's a reason why they need more time. Sometimes people just need 24 hours to sleep on it. If that's the case, if you're confident you've uncovered everything, that's okay. But still let them know, okay, but this does have an expiration. Obviously, I can't put contracts out, offer to buy houses left and right and just leave those open and never know what I'm buying when, right? So I'll honor this agreement for the next 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. After that, if I don't hear from you, we'll just consider it a no and the contract's void. There's got to be a hard stop. A lot of times that's all you need to get someone to make a decision is when they know time is running out. How many of you all have had a big decision that you've put off until you were forced to make it? Put it off weeks, months, years, until your back was up against the wall and you just knew it was decision time. Do you think any of the people you deal with are in that same situation? I know I am. When I have a tough decision to make, I put it off for as long as I can. And if I can put it off forever, how long does it get put off? Forever. We're all faced with really tough decisions in life, and for your prospects, this is one of them. And until they feel they have to make that decision, they're not going to make it. That's either going to be an expiration from you in a very soft, nurturing way, or it's going to be when they hit rock bottom. Sometimes when they hit rock bottom, it's too late. So after you go for the no, you can hold tight if you've exhausted all your tools and options. If you're sure you've uncovered everything, you're absolutely positive, hold tight to that no. Hey, I appreciate it, but in my book, it's got to be a no. It's the right thing to do for the next people I see. I've got to be able to give them a solid offer, not contingent on what you decide. So if it's a yes, that's great. Love to do business with you. If it's a no, that's okay too. We gave it our best shot and put our best foot forward. Or you can simply use it as a reset button and jump back into the sale with, now that it's over, can I ask you a question? Okay? So you can jump right back into it. Hey, it feels to me like it's, if you feel like there's still something hidden, that's where you hit the reset button. Hey, it sounds like a no to me, and that's okay. We don't buy every house we see. Don't ever expect to. We buy 1 out of 3 or 4. And we do that because it has to be a win-win. And I only want to buy houses people want to sell to me. So now that it's over, can I ask you a question? My gut's telling me this was off. My gut's telling me you're a little confused or concerned about this. My gut's telling me we missed something big time when it comes to what you're afraid of doing a deal like this. Now that it's over, would you mind sharing that with me? So we can jump back into it. Sometimes a no is the easiest place to sell from, because there still might be, no matter what we did with our advance agreements, no is okay, all that, there's still sometimes a pinch of fear. And this is how we get past it. Now that it's over, can I ask you a question? That's our reset button. If you ever have a sales call that's going really poorly, end it. Hey, listen, I don't want to waste your time. My gut's telling me we're way off here. It sounds like I might have even upset you on my way in or something I said or did. So let's just kind of table this and call it a no. Now that it's over, can I ask you a question? What were you hoping happened when I came out here? If you ever did sell, why would you? Use it as a reset button. All right, so last 16 minutes of well, let me pause before I move to this next phase, right? We did the commitment step and the presentation, okay? Next, we're going to move into post-sale or after we get the yes, what do we do afterwards to make sure we keep this thing locked up? But, guys, how well or how far off from your process does this match up? Does this make sense? Do you understand it? Do you see why this approach is important? Do you see what the pitfalls are if we bypass it and just toss out an offer? I want to get some real feedback. Where are the sticking points? Where are the challenges? Where are we still fuzzy? And if you disagree with any part of it, let's talk about that too. I'll give this 30 seconds to a minute to see if anything pops up before we move on. Good. So Jessica, really common, okay? We have lots of deals that from allowing people to think it over and needing more time. So that's why this is an individual decision, business to business. I'm going to tell you, the time frame to make decision can be as long or as short as you decide it to be. But here's the hard and fast rule. There has to be an end at some point. Okay? That's it. Whether it's a month, a week, whatever it is, just make sure there's a hard end. So, we've done a lot of our testing with express home buyers in the DC area because their volume is enormous, right? So the things we test there, we see results very quickly, whether it's working or not. And this was one of the biggest sticking points with express home buyers. They had one guy who's named Sean who Sean was with them a long time, and Sean was their best salesperson. He was the go-getter. He was the guy, right? And as we started going through the training, he said, listen, I always let him think it over, and my numbers prove that it works, so I'm going to stick with it. And as always, what we say to everything we train on is, listen, we always ask you to give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, don't do it. Or if you think it's going to hurt sales, absolutely don't do it, right? So Sean did his own thing, and he kept selling his way. But they also hired 2 new salespeople, two amateurs, and they were doing okay. They had just started. But they took it upon themselves to adopt everything. And they kind of made a pact between themselves, and they said, hey, we're walking out of every appointment, and it's a yes or a no, and no's okay. No think it overs. Okay? They made that rule with themselves. It took about 45 days before both of them had surpassed Sean. Now Sean is struggling compared to them. So all I ask is give it a chance. And time frame doesn't really matter. I like the shorter time frames. Just from my personal experience, I've seen that I've uncovered more stuff by sticking hard to that rule that I never would have uncovered. That's my personal experience. But at the same time, make sure there's a cutoff sometime. Okay? We don't totally shut the door. Right? Here's the beauty of this, guys. When you go for the no, it doesn't mean we've shut the door on them forever. It doesn't mean that we've cut ties. This actually makes our follow-ups more effective. So let's walk through this. I want you to think about this. If you're in a sales situation, and at the end of the sales situation, you're pressured for a yes. Oh, okay, so Jake says, here's a question from Jake. Do we totally shut the door? Or just say contact us if you change your mind if it's a real no? Hey, if it's a real no, I'm tossing them back into my autoresponder series. I'm tossing them back into some type of nurturing sequence, because just because it's a no now doesn't mean it's a no forever, right? So here's the deal. Is it a no now or is it a no forever? So if it's a no now, doesn't mean things don't change. We've all had those deals that pop. Circumstances change. Things get better. Things get worse. Now it's time. But what you want to make sure you do is put yourself in the best possible position if it's not a no, or if it's a no right now, right? That means you want your prospects to feel understood, respected, and not pressured. If things change, even if it is truly a no right now, you want them to think, hey, If I call these guys back, I already know what the experience is like, right? They're not the never say die guys who high pressure me and then try to follow up with me for 14 months and I avoided their calls and now I can't even call them. You want to put yourself in the best possible light and the best possible position. The only hard and fast rule I have, again, you can let them think about it. If you're going to let them think about it, there just has to be a point in time where this is where our offer expires. That one piece alone will win you more deals. I absolutely 100% stake my entire reputation on it. It's scary. I believe it so much. I don't walk out the door without a yes or a no because I don't know how many times I got the deal when it was just that one last little thing that I had to give them permission to get out on the table. I don't know how many times I got a call on my cell phone 15 minutes to the dot of when I leave an appointment in all industries, right? When it hits them. When it's, I'm going to have to live with this pain if I don't do something. Got a great example of this. A woman out in Colorado. I think, did I share that call with you folks? I think I might have after the first one or two calls when we talked about advance agreements. Okay, yeah. So you're going to hear a lot more of that. We're spinning up our local marketing here in Springfield where I live with some PPC and some mailers soon. So I'm personally going out and buying houses. We are going to record every one of those calls. And whether you're still in our training or not, I'm going to make those available to you guys. Okay? If you reach out and say, I want to hear those, I'm going to show you exactly what these things sound like and what it leads to. I'm a believer in this because I've seen it in so many industries. I've seen it so much myself that I'm probably a little more strict than most people because at the end of the day, if it's really what's best for them, I got to help them make that decision. Brad asks, is it okay when setting up an appointment with the seller to say we prefer to set up appointment one-on-one instead of a group of investors? Yeah, I mean, you can tell them whatever you'd like. I probably wouldn't meet with the whole group of investors. It's, you know, for multiple reasons. It's a bidding war. You know, it depends. If you want to get into a bidding war, then do it. If not, that's just going to fall into, you know, don't overcomplicate it. That just falls into your qualifiers, right? If you're meeting with a bunch of investors, is that acceptable to you? If it's yes, do it. If it's no, then the appointment's not qualified, right? So don't make it more complex than it needs to be. You need to first come up with your rule. Do we accept those appointments or not? If you accept them, accept them. If you accept them but want to try to talk your prospects out of them, then go with the, hey, you know, we've done a lot of that. Doesn't usually seem to work because we don't really have the right conversation with the right person and find out what we're really there to do. It's a bidding war, which is fine, but the reason our customers choose us is much more than the offer price. We're always competitive with the offer price, but it's all the other ways we help them get out of this property into the next property. There's so many different ways to structure these things. And when it's a ton of investors in a room just shouting out prices, basically, we don't have the right conversation, and we don't provide the value that we're known for providing. So, you know, we're happy to throw an offer at you, but I'll tell you right now, that's not the reason people do business with us. They do it for about 10 other reasons. And if we don't have that conversation, I'm not exactly sure how much value I'm going to be able to provide you. All right, let's keep going. The confirmation step. We got 6 minutes left. Let's dive into this. Jessica, you had a question. I'll address that afterwards. So, confirmation step, post-sale. Guys, after you do all this work, after you get all this done, the last thing you want is for someone to add $500, $1,000, $2,000 to your offer and lose the deal. Or for someone to get cold feet and lose the deal. Or for a naysayer, right, to talk the prospect out of it. Or for them to get cold feet and rethink everything. So this is what the confirmation step is. Now, not a lot of companies use the confirmation step, but the ones that do do it because they've lost too many deals after the fact. If you're not losing any deals after you wrap them up because of the states you're in and the contracts you use and stuff like that, that's okay. There's one piece you can take from this, but don't worry about listening to too much of it. So what we try to do in the post-sale to confirmation step is eliminate buyer's remorse, competition, naysayers, while our prospects are still in front of us. Okay, so let's go through a couple of pretty simple issues. Whether or not your contracts are airtight and you ever lose a customer, forget about losing a customer. Have any of you been in a situation where you locked up a deal, something went awry with the title company, or you ran into some challenges you didn't expect, and it totally threw your prospect for a loop, and from then on it was just a real pain dealing with them. They got shaky. You scared them. They didn't expect problems, and now it's kind of like end of the world, the sky is falling. Have any of you had to deal with that, where you ran into a problem and your prospect kind of got freaked out and made the whole process afterwards kind of difficult? So 1, 2, 3. So a small handful of you. Okay? If this happens to you, we'll spend 30 seconds on it. Simply in the post-sale, don't grab the contract and run out. Let them know what to expect, set proper expectations. It sounds like this. Hey, Jessica, 99% of the time, these things run as smooth as can be. We do this all the time. But every once in a while, it is real estate. We'll run into something with title or with airship or with some issue that's a small setback, a small challenge. We know how to deal with all those things. I just want to make sure you know that if one of those things do happen, the first thing we're going to do is contact you and let you know. And then after that, what we're going to do is tell you exactly what steps we do to solve it. And we'll go ahead and knock out whatever that challenge is. Now, we don't expect any, but occasionally things do happen. So I just want to set the right expectations with you, and if it does happen, we're properly prepared to deal with it all, and we'll let you know first thing, okay? So for those of you that have run into rocky situations, that brief conversation is all you need to set the stage. So if you do run into anything, you've already prepared them, and they don't completely freak out and lose it on you, making the rest of the transition very difficult. All right. So that's a plan for when things go wrong. Let's talk about, well, before we even spend any time talking about it, have any of you actually lost deals because you thought you had it wrapped up and someone talked it out, talked your prospect out of it, or another investor came in, tossed on a few dollars, and stole the deal? If it never happens, never does happen, not worth talking about. I covered the one piece I knew I wanted to cover. Okay, so we've got a few of you there. So here's how we handle it. We'll go through it quick. We got a couple minutes. Okay, we want to rehearse our prospects. So the reason why these things happen is usually, well, first think of it this way. Guys, if you work your butt off on a deal and you're about to close it, you get a verbal over the phone or something like that, you just don't have the paperwork signed yet. Okay, if that happens and you call your prospect to wrap it up and they say, oh, you know what, we just talked to Tony, another investor, and we're going to do business with him. He's going to be out here in a couple of days to sign the paperwork. What in the world are you going to do? Are you going to, after all that work, throw up your hands and just say, oh, okay, or are you going to fight for that deal? Give me your honest answer. Are you going to fight for it, or are you just going to let it go? Yeah, that you're going to fight for it, right? So, absolutely. So do you think that your competition is going to do the same thing? When they hear that they've lost a deal to you, do you think they're just going to say, oh, okay, Melinda won that one? Or do you think they're going to say, I don't think so, this sucker's mine, and give it everything they've got? They're going to do that exact same thing, right? They may not be as good as you, but I guarantee they've got the same fight you do, or at least close. They're not going to just, they might not even have the right tactics, but they're going to go for it, okay? So we need to rehearse our prospects for this. If you know that there's competition, if you feel that there's competition, if you think others are going to reach out to them, whether it's another investor or a friend or family member that you get a feeling, okay, this conversation is not going to go well, we need to rehearse our prospects. So simply have the conversation that they're going to have with that other person with them now. So it sounds like this. Hey, listen, I know you've been talking to a few others, and I appreciate the fact that you've decided to do business with us, but I got to ask a question. When they call and you tell them what you've decided to do, what's that going to be like? Is that going to be uncomfortable? What are you going to say? If they say, I have no idea, you got to do some coaching because you're in danger of losing them. So you want to reinforce why they've chosen to do business with you. Well, let me ask you this. How'd you know we were the right company to do business with? Let them answer. What made you feel good about what we had to offer? Let them answer. What do you think you could just tell them those types of things? Let me ask you this. What if they offered $1,000 more? You guys might not want to ask that question, but if they say, I'd absolutely take it, do you think you might want to extend that conversation a little bit? Do you think you might have a little bit more ground to cover? It might change how quickly you wait to get paperwork signed or your next steps or the next words that come out of your mouth. Very scary to say those types of things because you don't want to say, what if they offered you $500 more and they say, oh, I'd take it. Oh, shoot. This one's not as airtight as you thought it would be. Right? So rehearsal. Get them to verbally explain why it makes sense to do business with you. If they can't do that, you've got a little more work to do on that end. Rehearsal. Don't let them be caught off guard by your competition. You already know what they're going to ask and what they're going to say. Make sure they are equipped with the tools to combat that. They're going to have those conversations. Rehearse it with them so when they say it to your competition or to a naysayer, they're saying it for the second or third time. They've already rehearsed it. They're comfortable. Guys, the close is easy. Make sure you're going to get an answer, yes or no, just to make sure that you haven't missed anything. After that, solve their pains, and then ask what they'd like to do. If they say anything but a yes, it's a no. If they do say a yes, make sure to confirm it. Make sure that there's no reason why you might lose the deal. Your gut will tell you if there's something that might cause you to lose it. Make sure you set the right expectations. So not to overcomplicate it, yes or no, no is okay. Okay, I'm dialed in, I'm ready to go. Here's how I'm going to solve your pains, help you capture that opportunity. What do you say? Anything other than a yes is a no. And then when it is a yes, make sure you set proper expectations. Big takeaway, make sure there's an expiration on your offer. I don't care if it's 14 years from now or 14 seconds. That expiration will help you win more deals. Guys, if there's anything else you need from me, call me, Voxer me, email me, track me down at my home. I don't care. Let's get through this stuff together. Knowledge is power, but only if you use it, right? Let me help you any way I can. I want to see you win more deals. We're seeing others win a lot more deals. Don't be part of the minority that just either has a question they don't get answered. Don't take the action. I want you to be part of the majority that get this done and see some real solid results. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.